to our channel. I am Melisa Alaba, your breakthrough coach, and I am so excited. Today, I am joined by LaTasha Bilingslea, one of our amazing marriage counselors and our executive director. And she has some tips for you guys on how to know if your family is experiencing enmeshment. How do they know?
Yeah, so COVID has had a great way of bringing out the best in people and the worst in people, right? So you've been around your family for about 2 years now. I'm going on 2 years, or it feels like a lifetime.
It
And
does,
you
doesn't
may
it?
start to feel like your mom or your dad or your brother and your sister is always in your business, right? And sometimes it could be true and harmless, but sometimes it is very harmful and your family can be enmeshed, or what I like to call have very poor boundaries.
Wow. So I actually went through this myself with me and my girls, and we got us some help this year because things had just gotten so interlocked. And it was like, all right, we need a freedom and we need to set up better boundaries, because that's all this really is, right? Is setting up
Right.
better boundaries and how we want to communicate with each other at this point. So my daughters, the oldest is 25, the middle one is a college student. So we needed to rework what our relationship looks like now that they are young adults and they're no longer my little babies. So I needed to figure out some new ways in which to communicate with them. Sounds good?
Sounds great. And oftentimes this is generational, right? So you
Yeah.
don't wake up in a family with poor boundaries. Like your mother grew up in a house with poor boundaries, and her mother grew up in a house with poor boundaries, and her mother grew up in a house with poor boundaries. So here's 6 ways to know if you live in one of those families.
Okay.
And so the first way is parentification. And I know people always talk about parentification of a child and how that's bad. And it is bad. And it is one of the key factors of determining if your family is enmeshed or have poor boundaries. And what is parentification? Is basically making a child take on the role of an adult. So if you have an older child and they're watching all of the younger children, or if you're a single mom and you have an older son and you kind of use him as an emotional stand-in for a male partner, that is parentification. And that is
Whoa, that's deep. Why are we learning today?
so that is one key factor, parentification of a child. So if there's a parentification of a child, or you were parentified as a child, that should send off a little ding ding red flag that maybe my family was enmeshed. Maybe that's why I don't like going home to see my mom.
Mm.
The second one is criticism. So enmeshed families are very critical because the whole point is to keep you fused together with them, right? So they're very critical to beat down your self-esteem and say, you're not that great. So an example would be if you were a teenager and you were wanting to get a car for independence, your family would say, you're a good driver, but you're not good enough to drive by yourself. So I'll continue to drive you where you need to go. And so you're never able to be independent or go places without your family or your parent or someone else driving.
Oh,
So that keeps you
wow.
hindered. It keeps you enmeshed. And you see that a lot with couples as well, like husband and wives. If the husband is the only person who can drive or knows how to drive, that's a sign that that couple could be enmeshed, like they have poor boundaries. The wife can't go anywhere without the husband because she can't drive.
And it's interesting because I've seen couples who like it that way. Like that person, the wife who like, oh no, my husband drives me everywhere. And I'm like, you wouldn't want to drive for yourself, you know? So it's interesting because even with some of these things that you're bringing up, there may not be dissatisfaction with the way in which it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is, you never know something is wrong until you realize something is wrong. So if you grew up in a family where men were the primary provider and they did those things, and your mother never drove, so it's normal to not drive. It's like, oh, I like it that way. I like not being able to go to Kroger when I want to go.
Yeah. Very interesting. Well, what's tip number 3? These are awesome.
So number 3 is possessiveness. So in an enmeshed family, members of the family aren't seen as people, they're seen as possessions. And it's not overtly that way, it's covert, right? So it'll say something like, you're my child, you belong to me, you can't go with these people because you're mine, right? So it's the sense of, you're mine, I need you here so you can fulfill my needs. And that's true with all of these. So the Lord is, again, I need you here to fulfill the need of the family. You can't be individual because we are all kind of codependent on each other. So you can't go off and be in the world because you belong to me, you're mine, right? So another example would be, let's say you wanted to move out, right? And your mom's like, you can't move out. You're my child. What would you look like living somewhere else with a roommate when you can just live with me?
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, definitely have seen this a lot. All right, what's number 4?
Number 4 is that helplessness victim role. So your parent or the other people in your family are always the victim, and you'll find that when you go places, you're usually the victim, right? So things are always happening to you and you never play a part in things. And so how that plays out is, you can't leave the family. I can't care for myself. You're abandoning me. You're leaving me here to basically waste away and die. And that's not necessarily true.
Yeah. Wow. And it's interesting because we just had a conversation about this like yesterday or the day before. This can also lead to family members being manipulative of each other by using the victim card to get what they want, which is ultimately for you to do or stay or be whatever it is I need in that moment, and me not having to take responsibility for what it is I actually desire.
Right.
Yeah.
And so another key indicator is just instability in the family. So if the family is unstable, there's a lot going on. The family is usually enmeshed. Just because any little disruption in the system, in the family system, can cause chaos. So, a person leaving the house shouldn't cause chaos. A person emotion changing shouldn't cause chaos in the family, right? The family should still be able to remain a stable system. If I'm sad today, there shouldn't be a breakdown in the system. And so oftentimes people's emotions and their behaviors in enmeshed families are very unpredictable.
Wow. Well, those are some great tips. So if you've been wondering if you're a part of a family system like this, these tips would allow you to know this may be it. And of course, you can always contact us at Vision Works Counseling and Coaching and speak to one of our amazing therapists and work through some family issues or couple issues or even issues individually with one of our therapists or coaches. As always, we're so excited that you joined us today, and you can connect with us down in the links. Until next time, color your page with love, color your page with joy, and color your page with purpose. Bye, guys.